Welcome to OutKick the coverage. I'm Ryan Glassbeagle. We've got Bobby Burak joining us today. We're really lucky to be joined by Yahoo NBA insider Chris Haynes. Chris broke a blockbuster report yesterday that a bunch of NBA stars like LeBron, Chris Paul, Giannis, Kawhi, Durant, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, and more got together on a private call not very long after the union informally polled NBA players about if they would like to return. And these stars want to return if it's safe. Chris, tell me about that report for people who haven't seen it and what the impact of it will be.
Well, guys, thanks for having me on first and foremost. I hope you guys' platform right here proves to be successful, and best of luck with that. But as far as the report, look, it's significant basically, because of the people who were on that call. You mentioned some of the players. Damian Lillard was on that call as well. Look, the players want to play. And can I say, with all sincerity, that all players want to play? No, that's not the case. I spoke with some players who are outside of the playoff picture, and they feel like if the season resumes, it should just start with the teams that are in the playoffs. Leave us out of it. We don't have anything to play for. And of course, there's probably some free agents out there who have raised their stock and feel like, it would just do me harm if I went out there and played. My stock is as high as it's going to be. I want to leave it at that. But look, there's a lot of implications in not returning this season with the CBA looming and how that could unfold negatively for the players. But, on that call, the players, talked about all the pros and cons of restarting this season if the proper safety measures were in place. And at the end of that call, I was told that call lasted for about 45 minutes. And on that call, I was also told that Kawhi Leonard, people, don't get to hear him talk a lot, but I heard he was talking. He was one of the guys that was most vocal on that call. And I think everybody was pretty much stating their concerns about if they played, if somebody contracted the virus, they're concerned with taking it back home. And, some players live with family members, who are of age, who could be, symptomatic. And so that was a concern. But at the end of the call, they felt like if the proper safety measures were in place, it was in their best interest to get out there and play ball.
Chris, thanks for joining us, man. Nice seeing you again. If you had to bet right now, is the NBA season back by mid-July? That's my prediction. You put me down for that.
Mid-July. Okay. Before I answer that, Bobby, do you not grow your hair, facial hair, or are you just shaving every day?
I feel like with May and stuff, see, everybody has a beard right now. You, Ryan, and I'm someone, Chris, that tries to be an outlier. I will say this: you and Ryan are both hiding behind the hat. See, the hair took me 5 minutes max this morning.
So you did all of that. That's all you right there. You ain't going.
That's all me.
Congratulations on your youth. I hope you keep your head of hair, but my hair is unwieldy. I'm on the wrong end of 30, and if I can't get a haircut, I need to be wearing a hat now. That's just the way things work.
Me and you and Ryan, we're on the same page there. It looks like Bobby is working illegally over there. I don't know if barbershops are open right now.
My senior year, I was voted best hair in my class. Nothing's changed.
All right. Okay. Well, give it 10 years. We'll see if that's still the case. All right. So back to your question, Bobby. What was your question again? I'm sorry, Bobby. Your hair distracted me.
Mid-July, the NBA started, and I feel me. I don't back down from my predictions. I got mid-July. I'll say like July 15th. That's when I see the NBA starting. Am I right on that?
That could be a possibility. I haven't heard any concrete dates, but I will say this. I heard the conference call that Adam Silver was on with the players on Friday, and he told them at that time he didn't have to make a decision on the season until some point in June. So if that's the case, then I would think there's a pretty good chance that if things start to clear where the NBA is allowed to resume play, then July looks like a realistic target. I haven't heard anything concrete, but if the time frame in which Adam Silver says, which he has to make a decision, is indeed the proper time frame, then maybe July, end of July. I will say this: Adam Silver said that he's heard that it would take probably, I believe it was 3 to 6 weeks of training camp time to get these players back in shape if the season were to resume. So, if it goes to the furthest extent of 6 weeks, then you're looking at possibly August, maybe September. But, I wouldn't rule out July right now.
That worries me, Chris, because I don't want NBA interfering with football season, because when it's football season, it's football season. So I don't want NBA going on in September.
All right. Well, you're going to have to get over that because it's going to end when it ends. And if like the NBA finals is going up against like your precious week 2 Lions Vikings match, I don't know, the Lions are playing week 2, but if they just have to go head to head, like we're going to have to live with that. So Chris, you did a lot of reporting last week about a call that Commissioner Silver had with players where there had been some pushback from Michelle Roberts about the idea of playing in a bubble, either if it was completely closed off, which she told Ramona Shelburne sounded like incarceration, or if it was like people could come and go, then what would be the point? But Commissioner Silver expressed strong preference for a bubble or bubbles. Do you think that they would do one in Orlando, or do you see it being a split between Orlando and Vegas?
I can see both. I can see both scenarios playing out. But some of the players that I've spoken to, I think it makes more sense, from their perspective, if the West were in Vegas and the Eastern Conference was in Orlando. And Adam Silver mentioned that those are possibilities. He also did mention Toronto during that call, but he said he would like to keep it in the States. But he didn't rule out Toronto. He didn't rule out any other states. He said there's been a lot of interest. Councilmen have been calling him to express interest in the NBA, resuming their season in their respective states. So with that being the case, I still think it's the two states leading the pack are Nevada and Florida. But with that being said, with the players' perspective, look, they understand that it would have to be some type of quarantine city in order to get this season resumed. So they're up for it. They're game for it. But they just want to make sure the proper protocols are in place as far as safety measures go, so they can feel safe as possible. Adam Silver did say this on that call Friday as well. He said that they couldn't guarantee the safety of the players, but they would do what they could to make it as safe as possible. And I know that kind of stood out to a lot of players who heard that, because obviously they would be putting their lives at risk, or not just their lives, but their close loved ones, taking something back home with them if they are infected with the virus at that point.
So at this point, is the most likely scenario the following season starts around Christmas?
It sounds like we're leaning towards that. It sounds like we're leaning towards that, Bobby. Again, nothing concrete as of right now, but that might be the way that the NBA goes about starting the regular season from here on out. Now, I think that would make you happy. You get the football all to yourself with no other distractions. So I guess Adam Silver is listening to you, Bobby. But I'll say this: I'm interested in seeing how this is all going to take place if the NBA season does resume, to see how the postseason, when that ends, and then seeing a quick turnaround to get the season back started for December. But I will say this about the postseason. If it was to resume, this is something Adam Silver said on that call as well with the players, is that he plans on keeping the same playoff format, 7-game series throughout. And he felt like the playoffs, they will be able to keep the playoffs moving in a timely fashion where it could end quicker than it would, during the regular playoff format, being that all teams will be in the same city, so there wouldn't be the traveling days, so they can get this thing expedited. So I think that's a good thing to look forward to if they indeed do want to start the 2021 season in December.
Could you envision back-to-backs in the playoffs, or you think they're going to have at least a day between games for every game?
Day minimum. No back.
Okay. That makes sense. And then if you had to bet on it, if I had to bet on it, I would say they're going to go straight to the playoffs. But could you see them doing like maybe like a 5-game conclusion of the regular season or something, just to get really the people who we know are going to be in the playoffs, get them used to in-game competition?
A 5-game play-in, so basically finish the season off with 5 games.
Yeah, I don't mean like a play-in tournament. I mean like bring all 30 teams back, have each team play like 5 games or something.
I can't see that. I can't see that. Not to say that it can't happen, but most of the players that's out of playoff contention don't want to come back.
That makes sense.
So that's why I'm saying I don't see it.
Chris, what are your thoughts on The Last Dance so far? Last couple episodes, I'm starting to not like Michael Jordan as much. I don't know. He's lost me as a fan, I think. I mean, I'm not a LeBron fan either. I don't know. I mean, maybe James Harden. I kind of like him. I think the beard's cool, but I'm not really a Jordan fan after seeing him these past few episodes.
Why is that? What is rubbing you the wrong way?
Him picking on his teammates, just that mentality. I don't know, something about it. Like to me, I don't look at him as someone that like I want to root for. If he was playing right now, I would root for him to lose.
Got you. Now, let me ask you this question, Bobby. Were you a Kobe fan?
Yeah, but that was because I didn't like LeBron. So Kobe was still like the stopper of LeBron. Like I know eventually he got older, retired, but plus Kobe, I don't know. He seemed to have a better personality, like in press conference, especially later on. I don't know. I mean, what has this done for your fandom of Jordan?
Okay. Well, I brought up Kobe, rest in peace. But I brought up Kobe because he had a similar leadership style to Michael Jordan. But I find it fascinating. Obviously, I didn't. There's a few backstories that I was not aware about. I wasn't covering the league back then. So I'm finding it fascinating just to see Jordan, cussing, dropping F-bombs and things like that. So that's cool. But I'm not really surprised with his style, his leadership style, tactics. I've kind of heard how hard he was. B.J. Armstrong, who's a good friend of mine, he used to tell me some stories. But look, at the end of the day, I see Michael Jordan. He is catching some flack, from a few people about his leadership tactics, about his leadership style. And, I would just say this, some people lead in different ways. And there's not one way to do it. I know LeBron, for instance, likes to keep the team together, keep the team close, likes to establish bonds. They do everything off the court together, where they supporting somebody's event, the whole team is there. He feels that the best way to produce and succeed on the court is if there's a bond off the court. Michael Jordan, he's somebody that's going to rip you, bang it all in your head. He's going to attack you verbally, attack you physically, and in hopes that you will step up to the challenge and just defend yourself. Defend yourself for playing well, even defend yourself and going at him like Steve Kerr did. And so that was just his way of doing it. And so I can't knock it. I think it's cool. I think it's fascinating. I think in today's world, today's climate, where we're so much more aware on bullying. I don't think that probably would have fly today's time, especially if we seen everything that he was doing and saying. Calling players the B word and all that type of stuff. But that was his way of doing it, and you can't argue with the results.
If let's say like somehow you got granted an hour sit down with MJ, now that you've like watched most of this documentary, what are some things that you'd really want to ask him about to see if he'd explain them in a different way to you than maybe he is for like this capacity?
I think I would ask him if he would have played on that dream team if Isaiah Thomas was on the team. I would ask him that. Damn. That's a good question, Ryan.
Thank you.
I'm liking the NSYNC shirt, by the way, too, man. You went.
Yeah, I got it at Target. Like you Target sometimes with the t-shirts, they really come through. They've got like that $10 rack of vintage shirts, and for some reason I struck gold that day. I
Yeah,
also got like a Britney Spears, like probably like she's like 2000 era, like in the similar vein of this that day. It was quite a coup.
yeah.
I'll wear that the next time we do this.
Whatever floats your boat, Ryan. I'm not judging. I'm not judging. But no, I would, I would ask him that about the dream team for sure. I got to get back to you, Ryan. That's a good question. But no, there's definitely some holes throughout the doc, and that's to be expected with Jordan having a large say in how it's produced. But overall, man, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for sure.
Chris, I'm not going to let you slide on my next question. I'm hearing a lot of rumors out there. Are you dodging some media members in some pickup basketball games? And I don't want to name too many names, but I know, you might not want to go face to face with Stephen A on the court. I want you to address some of the speculation, man.
Well, first of all, Bobby, let me tell you that. I got 2 words for you. Fake news. That's exactly what it is. I haven't fielded any inquiries. Nobody has challenged me at all to any pickup game. I mean, people know where I stand with my game. And I've gotten over these last 5 months, I've gotten in the best shape I've gotten in since playing college ball. So I don't think there's pretty much anybody to me that wants to see me right now on the court. So that is fake news right there, Bobby. Stephen A. Look, that's my guy, Stephen A. I've heard stories about Stephen A. playing back in the day. I heard he had some game. I heard Chris Broussard had some game as well. But come on now. It's just, I mean, come on. I mean, I don't mean to show off. I mean, but come on, I don't think they won.
You accused him of getting a haircut. Have you been hitting like these these like speakeasy gyms that I've been hearing about?
Oh man, that's just running. That's cardio, running around the block. Running.
Look, you don't build your arms with cardio. Let's be serious here.
I got some 20, some 25, pound dumbbells at the house. You don't need much to stay in shape. So I'm good. And I will say is I haven't been able to shoot the basketball, since the country, went down. But no, I'm good. I'm in good shape. I'm ready.
So I'm going to hit you with another tough one. You've been dropping some singles lately on social media. Who is a rapper or artist that you would love to collaborate with?
None of them.
None? You're just all solo?
Solo right now. Look, I got I'll drop that. I got an album coming out, man. I got a 10-song album coming out, man.
Wow.
So it's called Quarantine. So I don't know when I'll drop.
What inspired the title?
What inspired the title? maybe because this album wouldn't be done if it wasn't a quarantine. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be rapping if it wasn't a quarantine. But no, guys, I've been bored out of my mind. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still working, which I'm thankful and fortunate to be doing so. But I have to admit, I got a little bit more extra time on my hands nowadays. And so I just, it really started with my daughter. My daughter was, she's a singer. And so she was singing, and it was one song that she had. And I was like, man, that sounds tight. I should rap to that. I've never rapped in my life. I'm like, I should rap to that. And then she was like, nah, dad. So I wrote these bars for her. And I recited to her, and she was like, nah. I'm like, I did all this work and you ain't gonna put me on. So then that's what started. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do my own thing. And so I got about 10 songs in the can. So at some point I'll release it. I don't know when I'll release it, but yeah, I got a little extra time on my hands.
Here's my all-time ranking of rappers. Nas 1, and I have Tupac and Biggie 2 and 3. I know a lot of people always tell them 1 and 2. I know they were both overrated. I don't know. I mean, Biggie had a couple of songs I like. I get the legacy, but I don't know Haynes. I mean, when I turn on Spotify, I don't go to Tupac or Biggie. I mean, I go to Nas, Kendrick Lamar, Eminem, Jay-Z, Macklemore.
Okay. Now, I don't have a problem with what you just said right there, Bobby. The only problem I have when you're talking about Biggie has a couple of songs, man, Biggie, look, let me tell you this right now, guys. Look. So I'm from the West Coast, Fresno, California, West Coast. And so in the 90s, we were rocking nothing but West Coast beats. We always felt, West Coast songs. We always felt like the East Coast, and rappers felt this way too. I spoke with Ice Cube. Always felt like the East Coast didn't respect our brand of music, didn't respect our style, our flow, our production. So when that whole so-called East Coast, West Coast beef was going on, we were rocking nothing but pop. I would not listen to Biggie. And so I'm in high school at the time. I'm like 14, 15 during this time. So I would not listen to Biggie. And yeah, he had some hits that were on the radio. I would just dismiss it, turn it off. I would not listen to Biggie. I was just Pac. Pac was riding for us. This was our side. That was it. So guys, once I'm gonna be real with you. It was probably about 2 years ago. I'm listening to what's the music? What's the station? What's the app? Why is it?
Pandora, Spotify.
Pandora. I'm listening to Pandora, and a Biggie song comes out that I've never heard. And Biggie had 2 albums. He only had 2 albums. And that's another reason why I wouldn't claim Biggie the best rapper at the time. I felt like, look, in football, Bo Jackson had a few years of just dominance. It looked like he was on the verge of being one of the best running backs ever to play. But due to an injury, it cut it short. But we don't say Bo Jackson is the greatest running back of all time because he didn't withstand the test of time. It was unfortunate. And so I was like that with Biggie. So people would say Biggie's the best rapper. I'm like, how you gonna say that? He did 2 albums and he did a collab with, it was a project with his group. So I'm like, how can you say that? But look, guys, I'm gonna say this. I listened to one of Biggie's songs on Pandora. Can't remember what song it was. I'm listening to his flow, his wordplay. I'm like, this dude is bad. I listened to another one. Same thing. The consistency is there. I listened to another. It's kept going. So all that to say this, guys, I'm from the West Coast. The guy had 2 albums, albeit I'll say this, the second album was a double disc. He's the best rapper of all time.
Wow. That I think we're gonna need to send Bobby on a Pandora wormhole. We know you have a hard out because you're going on with Colin Cowherd in 10 minutes. I bet you he's not going to hit you with an intro that says Biggie is overrated. And I've already been watching his show today. He's not wearing an NSYNC shirt. We appreciate you slumming it up with us and hope to do this again soon. Check out Chris's Blockbuster report from yesterday. Yahoo Sports, NBA stars want to return when it's safe, and they have pledged their solidarity. Thank you again, Chris.
All right, guys, y'all take care. Best of luck with this project.
Appreciate it, man.